And we are live. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my goodness. It's been a while since I've had a guest on for Filipino Hustle Fridays. I'm really excited about today. Thank you so much, Charlene Young, for being on today for our 35th episode. And for those of you who are not familiar, there's plenty of friends on my platforms. They know that I have multiple shows, and this one's very special to me, near and dear to my heart, because we get to feature Filipino entrepreneurs and really, really talented people in our community. And it's opened up so many conversations with people beyond just America, because my intention was Filipino Americans, but also there have been Canadians and even some even overseas in Dubai, talented Filipinos that have been able to hop on the show. So thank you so much for taking the time to be on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So I'm gonna do a quick intro on Charlene, and then I will dive in, and I'm super excited to talk about her story. So really quick, originally from Los Angeles, Charlene earned a master's degree in intern. Oh, excuse me, I hopped over to the other part. Charlene Lopez Young is a co-founder and VP of operations of the Fattened Caf, a St. Louis-based Filipino barbecue brand known for blending authentic Filipino flavors with American barbecue traditions. Alongside her husband and co-founder, Darren Young, she helped grow the business from backyard dinner parties and community pop-ups into a beloved restaurant, retail brand, and cultural staple. Today, Charlene leads operations and strategic growth while championing Filipino American representation through food, storytelling, and community. But saying all that doesn't do justice. So that's why I have pictures and their website pulled up. I will showcase throughout the conversation. So let's go ahead and start first. Let's talk about being in California and then what brought you all the way to St. Louis.
Yeah. So originally from Los Angeles, loved LA so much. Got my master's outside of the country and had the opportunity to move to St. Louis for a job as a state director for Reuters News Agency during the election season. Um, and took that opportunity and moved here and never, I guess, never looked back, never went back to LA and just stayed here.
That's awesome. So I know you spent some time in Australia. How long was that again?
About 3 years.
Oh, wow. What
Yeah,
was that like?
I was convinced I was gonna live there.
It's
I
beautiful
loved
there,
it so
right?
much. It's beautiful. It's great. The walkability, the public transport, it's awesome. But I was dating my husband now. We were dating then, and he had no desire to move there. He moved to St. Louis for a job. He was actually a youth pastor when we were out here initially, and then yeah, so I had the opportunity to move and I moved, and there's a little regret about not staying in Australia, but St. Louis is so great. I mean, it's a small city with but you can still access like big city amenities and the affordability like no one can beat it. We have 3 kids now. We're having three. We've already had our two. And so we have a home, we have our business. It just feels like the right place to be in this season. So
Congratulations. And I
thank
know
you.
how life can get, it's so hectic and everything, and how to manage all of that with your business. So how did you meet your husband? Like,
Um,
was it in
w-
California or was it?
in California, yeah. Before he moved here and before I moved to Australia, we've known each other through like church functions, like things like that. And yeah, we've just been together since. I think that was what, I don't know, since 2012, 2013.
Wow. And did you always know, like, was it one of those things where, like, how did you decide, okay, let's go ahead and start Fat and Calf? Because like with the background with international studies, so you always love to cook?
I love to explore Filipino food. So my grandmother, we used to call her Mrs. Bakes because she like just baked and cooked all the time. And my mom was really into cooking from my grandma. And so when I moved to Australia, there was no way for me to get Filipino food, at least easily in Melbourne, where I was in at that time. So my grandma would send me like cookbooks and different things like that to just try out different Filipino dishes. Um, And then when I moved to St. Louis, it was very reminiscent of that in the sense that, like, there's not a large Filipino American population or just Filipino spots all over the place, right? In comparison to LA, you have like a Filipino town, the historic Filipino town. You have like the Eagle Rock Mall where I'm from, where there's Jollibee and Seafood City in it. And it's easy. It's like it's part of like LA culture. Filipino food culture is part of LA culture. And here in St. Louis, that wasn't a thing yet. And so I always joked around about being like the only Filipino within a 6 mile radius from wherever I was. And that's kind of how the fan calf started. So Darren got into smoking meats. He just bought like a small Traeger at that time and was cooking and smoking a bunch of pork shoulder. And there was a time when I'd open my fridge and it's just all smoked pork shoulder. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Let's do Filipino barbecue. Let's try that out. And again, there was just so much food that I was like, let's have people over. Let's like, if this is what you want to do, let's have people over. And we would just prepare like feasts, and our friends would come over and we'd do game nights. Um, and then like they just kept encouraging us, like, oh, there's nothing like this in St. Louis. So you guys should do this for real. And for fun, I think we like came back from a trip to the Philippines and we were like, oh, we're gonna call it the Fan Calf. And we were just kind of like not really messing around, but it really wasn't serious. It was just a conversation of what could it be. And then on one game night, Darren was like telling our friends about it. And then for fun again, we just signed up for an LLC and like did a farmer's market. And we did, I think, just like 60 plates and we sold out within like an hour. And we just got like this adrenaline high from it. We're like, oh, this is fun. This is cool. At that time, I was a data analyst for an international nonprofit here in St. Louis. And he was at that time still a youth pastor, but like an executive director for a Christian nonprofit as well. And then we just found like a passion outside of the community work that we were doing. And so we were doing that maybe like once every 3 months, popping up, but still doing game nights. And then finally, we realized people were ordering food from us. We were taking time off of our jobs. We were not really charging people for anything, but just for like the cost of the food that they would bring us. They would buy the food and then we cook it for them. And we realized, like, wait, we're taking our paid time off or like no paid time off. We are running our smoker. We're like doing all these things. Like maybe we do have something here and we're just kind of ignoring it. Um, and slowly we just started stepping into it. And we did our first pop up at this place called Milk Toast Bar. The line was like around the block. And it was just like, basic adobo, it, barbecue.
Very popular.
Yeah, like it wasn't like anything that was what we're doing now. And it was just like, but people received it so well. And there were Filipinos standing in line. And so, like, for me, I was like, okay, they've been waiting for the same thing I've been waiting for, right? Like the representation in the community and feeling like, oh, I'm seen here and I belong here. And I think that was really the big driving force for me was just like, this needs to happen. It can't be like just random anymore. Like people are looking for this, people who are just like me, who maybe have grown up in the Midwest and have never found themselves in like the culture here or the identity in the Midwest specific to St. Louis. And then I thought about like, if I had kids here, what would they feel like? Right. So like it was just like this whole mission now that I've created for myself. And it's grown since. And we're really, really happy and appreciative of how St. Louis has rallied behind Filipino food. And there's a lot more Filipino spots that have popped up since. And it's been amazing to have that sort of camaraderie and food culture that's growing here in St. Louis.
That's awesome. Um, there's some fun facts that my team helped me pull out that they found probably from all the social media posts and website. So in 2018, you and Darren began selling the barbecue at the Cherokee Street Market, marking the
Mhm.
birth of the Fattened Calf. And you were named to Ian Frobe's St. Louis 100 best restaurants in St. Louis in 2023, 24, 25, and 26.
Yeah.
Feast Magazine's Rising Star recognition was in 2021. And of course, your popular dishes were the Filipino style chicken barbecue and pork belly sisig. And the famous dessert is Lola's ube banana pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, and the whole restaurant world, and it's amazing how many Filipino owned restaurants there are. And that's what I'm seeing as primarily a lot of the entrepreneurs that I'm interviewing are have um, the specialty is in food, and but also it's not the easiest business model.
No.
So especially these days with rising costs, right? With everything.
Yeah.
So how have you like survived all these years even after COVID? And I know you said it's almost mission driven now, like representation, and you're still just one of the few Filipino restaurants in town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I there's really no easy way to explain how to survive like the restaurant industry because it is really hard, right? Your profits are not significant. And you go into it wanting to serve good food, not really to make money. You're like, I want to give you the best Filipino food I can give you. But then you realize what is it to be a chef if like you have nowhere to cook, right? If there's nothing to keep getting you to the next level or to bring in the revenue for you to keep going, then what is the point of being a chef? So we had to really find the balance of the right business approach here. We want to serve good food, we want to be hospitable, but we also want to be a viable business, not just because we want to make money, but now we're responsible for the 20 plus staff that we have, some part time, some full time, all the partnerships that we've created and the collaborations that depend on our us being vendors to them, like all these things. Like we have made ourselves a part of the ecosystem of St. Louis City. So how can we care for that really well? And initially we had like we just want to build community, and that's so great, and it's still true. It's still the core of the Fan Caf. We love food, but we love people more. But how does that relay in every pocket of the Fan Caf? So we've had to learn how to pivot in every single sense, right? Like when COVID happened, how do we still give people what they want and still make the revenue that we need to keep our staff going? And so we pivoted to our prepackaged longanisas. We went to the Philippines. We learned how to make longanisa there. My husband and I, we were casing it. We were grinding the meat, seasoning, casing, smoking.
Ooh.
We were doing everything. And I think that's what made it really good too, was that like we knew the quality and the taste that we wanted to bring forward. And so we were able to control that part of the Fan Caf, and then we packaged it up. Luckily enough, one of the biggest grocery store chains here picked up our stuff, and we were in close to like 100 grocery stores during COVID, which was really awesome. But then when when COVID stopped, that kind of slowed down, right? And we're not a CPG business, so we would have spent so much money forcing the CPG side and just to make it work. But if it's not there and we weren't flexible, then the Fan Caf would eventually die out. So how did we have to respond to the demand and the changes in market by also being relevant still and keeping the Fan Caf going? So then we pivoted to anchor locations. Now we've built the brand. Now we've built like the identity of the Fan Caf. You know, we serve good food. Where can we bring this where there's already people there? The next opportunity we had was a location inside Washington University, which is one of the most prestigious universities here in St. Louis. And they offered us a location inside their school, which is awesome. And even that itself was able to generate revenue that was like significant and keep the Fan Caf going. But we had to learn how to work with a small kitchen, how to work with a commissary kitchen, and how to do not necessarily fast food, but food had to be out within like 5-10 minutes per order. And we would get about 400 tickets. So had to learn how to pivot in that way. But you really just have to force yourself, because as a business owner, if you're just like so narrow minded and this is what you believe it's going to happen, the world is going to tell you that that's not the way it needs to go. And you need to be very flexible in how you approach the business, right? Because like at the end of it, the goal is still the same. We want to love people. and we want to serve people good Filipino food. And how do we do that with what resources and opportunities that we have? And so, yeah, there's really no clear cut way, and it works so different for other people. And some folks are just like, the restaurant is where it's at, but for us it's like the restaurant is there, but the opportunity for anchor locations are there. We've been inside the St. Louis soccer stadium for 3 years. We just ended that contract, but we ended up at the St. Louis Cardinals, the Busch Stadium, the baseball stadium, for um, like a full month opportunity, and we still took it, right? Like being flexible enough to pivot and adjust and keep going, but keeping the quality and the brand the same has been the trick for the Fan Caf, and we're really grateful for still being here, because it is a really hard industry to be in.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You had to make a lot of changes fast, and that's also really hard. I mean, my city here, Tallahassee, is maybe the greater metro area is 300,000. So I think St. Louis is bigger. Um, and we have had attempts where Filipinos did try to have a restaurant here, and it's not easy. So they're surviving. Other family-owned businesses are surviving, like food trucks or catering only.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I feel like they can learn so much from you, and they are nurses on the side, like, they're
yeah.
that's their primary, revenue stream, and then, of course, they love Filipino food, and they wanna share it with the community, so similarly to you, there's not a huge population here. Um, so and I'm glad you touched on Longganisa, because I don't know if I would have asked anything along those lines, because I've always wondered, is there a healthy version of Longganisa out there?
Ours is.
I
We have a
know!
really clean label.
That's
We have
wonderful.
no dyes or fillers, no soy,
Wow.
nothing like that. If you order our chicken longanisa, it's chicken thighs. It has pork casing, but it's all chicken thighs inside. And then our pork longanisa is all pork shoulder with a little bit of pork fat. But it's like that's the meat that you're going to get. And I think it makes it a bit gourmet, right? Like it makes it a little bit more fancy. It doesn't sit in the freezer section. So when you get it, you know that it was just made no more than like 30 days ago. And so you're getting like a really good product in your hand, but you can taste that goodness. And again, it falls in line with like our mission. I don't want to just give you longanisa for the sake of taking your money and saying I made longanisa. I want to give you longanisa and know, and you know that Filipino food can actually be really fresh and really good. It can be really nourishing, like the way that Filipino people back in the day probably made it, right, with the intention to nourish and not just for profit. So I think that's really where it really boils down to. And Darren, my husband, he's the one who does a lot of our operational stuff, like our SOPs, our quality control. And he's really like adamant about sticking to those. Probably sometimes
That's
more than me,
great.
to be honest. But he just really believes in like the quality of the stuff that we have and wants to push that. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, we've only supplied a few grocery stores now for that very reason, is because we realized the more grocery stores that we supplied in, the quality that we're offering started to diminish. And we are not a CPG business, right? We were in it for a little bit, but we're in the business of really serving people good food. So we've pulled back since. We've done direct to consumer now instead of business to business for that side, and we're happy with it, because still the sanctity or the brand of the Fattened Caf remains intact without us compromising like what we want and our values, and we're not losing money. So it's okay for us to make these decisions. I understand for some businesses, like they have to make certain sacrifices. I totally get it. There's no shade or there's no judgment. But for the Fan Caf, it still works well for us to be able to pick and choose what we want to involve ourselves in, and we're still grabbing that opportunity and taking advantage of it.
If there's nothing like it in the market, and see, I'm fixated on this longanisa thing, because
Yeah.
every time I would eat it, because I loved it, I grew up, eating it. And then now more conscious of like health and everything that happens in our community, especially our grandparents and uncles and aunts and everything related to
Hmm.
cancer and sugar heavily in our diet. It's amazing that you have come up with your own recipe, like a healthy version of it. Is it Is there any thought about possibly where that could be scaled, like that alone, or is that more still along the lines of CPG?
That
Like,
is still
we
CPG, but we are
Mhm.
opening up for direct to consumer shipping. So
Okay, so, like,
our
I could order one?
Yeah, you should be able to order one fairly soon, if not next year, but we're thinking that we're only gonna be shipping around the winter season nationwide
Mhm, mhm,
because we have to do, like, overnight shipping, and it gets a little costly that way.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
but the summer is just too hot for us to ship, like, fresh food and without, like, charging
Yeah.
people an arm and a leg. But yes, we are that is in the books, and we are thinking through it. We've done it a couple of times. The demand is definitely there because people still message us like, "When are you gonna ship again? When are you gonna ship again?" But it's really just, us waiting for the right opportunity. I think timing is everything, right? Like,
Yeah,
we don't wanna
absolutely.
launch something prematurely. We wanna make sure that we're doing it well and we're sticking to, like, the opportunities that are available rather than sometimes it's great to create those opportunities and people have to hustle. I totally get it. But for us, it works best when the opportunities just open up and we grab it at that point, you know?
And when you know it's the right time, it's
Yeah,
the right time. That it
for
makes
sure.
the most sense for everybody. I haven't even pulled up all the pictures yet because I want I wanna keep seeing how you're telling the engaging story. So, the it's ho I'm glad you brought up the brand, Fattened Caf, like, okay, how did you come up with that brand? And then I'll pull up some website photos.
Yeah, so, you want the long version or the short version?
Yeah, there's no
Okay,
maker disaster.
so I there's, there's a scripture in Luke or a passage in Luke, in the book of Luke about, the prodigal son, and the son blows off all of his inheritance and then leaves his family kind of behind, comes back eventually when he realized he messed up, and the dad was just like, "Let's kill the fattest calf, and let's celebrate." And at that time when we thought about the building the fan calf, um, we wanted to figure out what gifts do we have to offer this city? Like, what can we do to just bring people together? And so this restaurant or this food business, this brand is the fattest calf that we can offer this city, to bring people together, to commune, to celebrate, to find community, to find a place to be, and that's what we're offering St. Louis. The short version is it's a fattier, heftier version of a cafe. We sell Filipino flavored coffee drinks. You can co-work in our space. There's free
Oh,
internet, but you can
I love
also
it.
get yeah, you can also get a decent meal that fills you up and that sets you off to your venture for the day or whatever it is. Yeah, so those two define the Fan Calf really well.
Oh, that's awesome. So, like, people are they, feel comfortable to hang out and just chill, and it's because it is a cafe, so,
Yeah.
it must be a nice like, there must be a awesome vibe to it. I mean, looking at the pictures of the food, I made a mistake and did not eat before this interview, so this is making me hungry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely people are comfortable to stay and hang out, and sometimes they're not even required to buy anything. They can just hang out there and lounge for a little bit while because the bus stop is not far from us, so they just
Oh,
kind of wait
nice.
there, and we're totally fine with it.
Wow, okay, so what is your favorite dish and what's the most popular? Maybe I can
Okay,
find it on your
so
site.
for, lunch, I really like our Pyongyang chicken. So it's a
Mm.
specialty by the Tausug tribe in Mindanao, and it is essentially like a burnt coconut chicken. We burn coconut in-house, pulse that down to
Oh.
a seasoning, marinate that chicken for at least over 24 hours with all the aromatics, and then smoke it. And then we top that with another burnt coconut gravy, and it comes with Java rice, pickled cabbage achara, some seasoned cucumbers. I know I'm salivating right now too, thinking about it because it's actually a really, really good dish. It's really good, and I think like dishes from the southern part of the Philippines are making a wave into like modern Filipino food, which is really amazing. And it's been some time that they need to have their limelight shine on them because when you think about Filipino food, like I said, we talk about adobo we talk about like Filipino barbecue and usually like northern foods, right? But the Philippines is made up of over 7,000 islands and three really large archipelagos, and each region has their own specialty. And so I'm really excited for the wave of like Southern Filipino food coming up. And yeah, so this Pianggang chicken is definitely one of our
So
top dishes for lunch. We also have it for dinner, and that dinner it comes as a half chicken, which a lot of people are like, I'm going to share, and then they're like, no, I ate it all on my own, so let's get another one for the table. Which is such a compliment for us. And then for Fridays and Saturdays we do kinilaw, which is raw tuna. We use tuna, sushi grade tuna, and then we cure that in some vinegar and coconut milk. And it's the way that my grandma would prepare it. She's from Tacloban, which is the middle of the Philippines, Leyte area. And it's like coconut heavy, vinegar heavy, calamansi rinds in there. And it's really good. And sometimes you can add pork belly to it. And it makes it a sinuglau, which is a mash of like barbecue and the raw fish. Um, those two dishes I think are really great dishes for the fan caf. But everyone loves, I mean, we're in St. Louis, so everyone loves barbecue, right? Like, so Filipino chicken barbecue and our pork steak, we actually do a 12-ounce pork steak instead of skewering it, because a pork steak is very specific to St. Louis. And people love those dishes. But people do come in and they're like, do you have lumpia? And I'm like, no, we do Filipino barbecue. What about pancet? And I'm like, no, but I can recommend you somewhere that does it. I mean, our catering menu does have like pancet because we do a vegetarian option for that, but it's just not in the restaurant. And I really do want to make that distinction that it's like Filipino barbecue is what we specialize in. And we do that really well. If that's what you're looking for, please come to the Fattened Caf. If you're looking for like the lutong bahay or the ones that you can cook at home, like it's not us. And I have a lot of recommendations for those places, but um, we specialize in like the Filipino barbecue. We make our own spam. We smoke it.
I saw.
Yeah, and again, it's no fillers. It's really just
Wow.
pork shoulder grounded up, or like the pork cali grinded up, and then we smoke that. And that one's a really great dish too.
So that's also what really sets you apart. It's clean food,
Hmm.
healthy, and and you are focused on the barbecue because you think like, oh yeah, I was thinking mainstream Filipino food, everybody what everybody knows, but then it also gives people a reason like, oh, I want to come back there because
Yeah.
it's not just your typical Filipino food you can get anywhere or cook at home.
Hmm.
Even though I do not want to cook lumpia every single time. It's a specialty and it takes a long time.
It
Um,
does.
yes, so anytime opportunity comes up for me to eat it, I'll eat it. Yes. Uh, so I can't believe it's already close to being shot. But to respect your time and everything, if there's anything you'd like to wrap up with, because I love for you to, maybe if you were to give advice to your younger self or to another somebody who's interested in getting into the restaurant world, especially Filipinos, what would you say to them?
I would say um, really be a part of the community that you're in. I think the reason why the fan caf continues on is because people see us as like a part of their lives, and that's really important. And that's what sets you apart more than anyone can cook good food. Everyone's grandma makes the best of something, but what makes you different, right? Like what makes you a part of someone's everyday life is what's going to matter. So I mean, keep pushing, um, keep inviting, but also accept invitations. That's what makes you be a part of it.
I love that, and I love everything about the story behind the Fine Calf and the branding, and just the values that you all put together and express in your cooking, and just the vibe that you have and the atmosphere you provide for your community. They're so lucky to have you all,
Thank you. We're lucky to
and
have
it's
them
like
too.
it's like gives me a reason to come out there. I have friends out there. And I actually have a friend who moved from there to here, so I'm gonna tell them about this
Yeah,
show and
come. We'd love
what.
to feed you guys, seriously.
Yeah, yeah. And is there anything you want to give a shout out to some family and team members before we wrap up?
No, I shout them up all the time. This is about the Fattened Caf. No,
You're
I'm
like,
just
y'all
kidding.
know already. Y'all already know.
No, yeah. Thanks for having us. We're really appreciative that you gave us a platform and opportunity to chat with people.
Yeah, and thanks for taking the time to tell us your story. I would love to have you on again. And if there's anything, once you let us know, once it's out where you can now do direct to consumer, it's all ready. And we would love to spread the word and just, we have a newsletter. So people who are subscribed to our newsletter will know about what you're doing. So thank you so much again.
Sounds good. Thanks, Julia.
Awesome. So I'll wrap it up and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks, guys. We'd love to see you at the next episode, 36 for Filipino Hustle Fridays. If you know a guest who'd be interested, let us know. Thank you so much.
See ya.
Bye.